Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mickey Mouse here once again and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more of Let's Play of Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo / Super Famicom. So, previously, that we did manage to able to get things started with 100cc by going through the Mushroom Cup, and we managed to able to done a nice flawless run through for this particular point and on, and today we're about to be continuing things on in 100cc and going through the Flower Cup next. And for this particular character choice, I think we should probably get started with let's pick this obscure unusual playable character that we have not seen for a very long time, and that is the forms of Donkey Kong Jr. In fact, between Donkey Kong Jr. as well as Bowser, they're both characters that are heavyweight characters, because unlike the other characters throughout the game, some of them are medium-sized class and some of them are small-sized class. So, for this particular point, we're going to be going through Donkey Kong Jr. for today. And speaking of today, actually, it's the fact that today's day is the forms of the 18th of January in 2020. So you remember when Piglet and Daffy has already mentioned about this before during the forms of his Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games Let's Play. Recently yesterday, that not only did the UK version of Mario Party Island toys been out for 6 years in the UK version, but also during the forms of yesterday is that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot has just recently released yesterday for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. I don't know if they're actually going to be releasing that on the Nintendo Switch somehow, but then again, we haven't exactly looked upon details on that specific title though, but I'm pretty sure that most of other fans were able to expect to be super excited to able to actually play for a very long time, most highly anticipated RPG games of all time, which is specifically Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, because we haven't got a new RPG Dragon Ball Z game for quite some time, ever since Attack of the Saiyans for the Nintendo DS, which I might try to consider getting that, but even then I'll have to wait and see what happens there, but that I digress. So yeah, we've seen Choco Island 1 before, except now we're going to be playing as a different racer. So, as you can tell, Donkey Kong Jr.'s rifle, which appears to be by the forms of Toad. Okay, seems a little bit odd of the choice of the actual rifle to begin with, but regardless of such though, we still need to able to conquer for the gold. And now we're going back into Ghost Valley 2, which, at this point in time, that's, well, you notice that I've got myself 3 lives so far by the time for the forms of the starting point of, you know, between each cup in mind, and this is where the actual frustration might actually comes in, specifically, you know, with the forms of 100cc in mind, that just gets a little bit tricky for the most part. Well, not necessarily difficult, unlike the other class that we might actually come into us into, specifically, I'll discuss more on that later, but usually the thing is with Donkey Kong Jr., and same applies for Bowser as well, they're both characters, as I mentioned this before, they are heavyweight characters. However, if you get bumped into a wall with either Donkey Kong Jr. or Bowser, oh man, they took forever to able to actually pick up some speed going, which I think, I'm not gonna lie while I'm saying this, but both of those characters might actually be the least involved, because I don't think anyone else can able to actually just to play as Donkey Kong Jr. as well as Bowser in mind. So, unfortunately for me though, just because of that stiff turning position, as well as from that, I accidentally just fluked myself from that bottomless pit below due to the forms of that specific stingy boost. In fact, you know what, let's just give up on that, and we'll just have to take the extra life away. So, yeah, as I mentioned this before, if you manage to come across into that specific stuff when it happens, that you can either just lose a life and give up, or you can able to actually just get in 5th or 8th place, you can essentially might as well get ranked out, and then you have to force to either give away your extra life, or if you're about to give up, well, it will turn you back to the title screen, which, unlike the forms of how it does it in the future Mario Kart games, specifically Mario Kart Double Dash all the way up to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that you can able to actually continue where you left off. But in this game, all the way up to Super Circuit, that you have to able to retry the actual race. Well, between Super Mario Kart as well as Mario Kart Super Circuit, except Mario Kart 64, because Mario Kart 64 doesn't have the actual coins to begin with, which we'll talk more onto that entering at some point in spring. So yeah, that's probably get the idea for that specific solutions for that point. So, but for the most part though, I think this will be the only time, and as well as the few tracks up ahead, that we might actually consider trying to use the actual give up option sometimes, which because, you know, I'm just not a big fan of the heavyweight characters in this game, because unlike the future games, I can deal with it no problem, depending on the actual status, and especially noticeable with some of these kart options that you can able to select. But it's just for this though, it's just, well, it takes forever to keep up with the speed going, and also the turning is okay, but nothing outstanding though, at least to my experience anyway, so anyway, so that's Ghost Valley 2. Despite what the first attempt is going really awful, especially noticeable with that specific jump ramp. And now let's move on to Donut Plains 2, which obviously we need to avoid a lot of Monty Moles, because that way that you will slow down if you get attacked by Monty Moles to begin with. So there's not much else I can really talk about this at this point in time, aside from the fact that you know how recently that we got ourselves a new update recently for Mario Kart Tour, because you know, that's what the actual video is all about. We're able to discuss upon new updates for Mario Kart, and that is specifically the Mario Kart Tour's Ice Tour that has been up for about, I would say by the forms of 4 days ago potentially. So what that usually brings us to is the fact that we actually got ourselves the Ice Tour. In addition with that, we actually got ourselves the returning track, which I'm pretty sure that Daffy and Piglet has already mentioned about that on their Let's Plays of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games, basically. So, there's no point for able to discuss on that again, just because I'm pretty sure that most of you guys may already know about this at this point, especially if you look up on Twitters and all that stuff, but usually that's far from the case, regrettably. So, okay, so it looks like we're not doing too great in this particular stage. I will admit that right away, because there are a few times that, then again, the only key factor about heavyweight characters is that you have to keep away from the edges of the actual track, because, well, if you go to the grass or something like that, you will slow down every now and then, which I think, did I just manage to get myself a star in second place? Jeez, what is that all about? But at least I'm feeling quite lucky enough as it goes by, but then again, it's just, I'm not a big fan of heavyweight characters in this game. I know it is there for the sake of the forms of advanced players or something like that, but it by that time, whenever we move on to the last point of this entire Let's Play of this game, I think I'm probably not going to touch upon the heavyweight characters again, just because, well, it just feels kind of hard to play sometimes. But until when we select Mario and Princess Peach, or in this case, in this game, it just calls her the Princess, as what it's known for, then it makes it a little bit somewhat comfortable. So anyways, we got an extra life back after the miserable attempts during the forms of Ghost Valley 2 and stuff like that, which I'm totally done with it, but hey, at least we've already got 2 more rounds left. So next up is, of course, probably to me though, the hardest Bowser's Castle level in the entire game, just in my opinion, because, wow, I just cannot even believe I just seriously just lost that on purpose. But regardless of everything else though, let's see if how we can able to do a little bit more better this time around compared to last time on 50cc, because I seriously got squished by that thwomp for during the forms of the final lap. I mean, that's just unbelievable, man. But yeah, there's not much else I can really talk about this, honestly, because of how the fact that, well, there's not much else I can say, because, well, don't worry though, until next Saturday, which is specifically the 25th of July, we'll able to actually discuss upon the forms of, the 4th hidden cup that we actually going to be unlocking at some point, which, yes, unlike 50cc, as I mentioned this earlier, there's actually a 4th cup that you can only access to if you only select 100cc and 150cc, so it doesn't really matter what class you're going to be in. So basically what happens is there's actually called the Special Cup, which basically it's like the ultimate challenge between the forms of 100cc and 150cc for that point. But then again, we'll discuss more on that until later on throughout this game offers us to. So either way, we'll just mainly focusing on the forms of the Bowser Castle 2 right here. So in fact, we're not doing too bad this time around. At least luckily though, we don't have to take the forms of that particular shortcuts that we can take. Unless if we could potentially try to keep that feather item, so just in case we don't fall off or anything. But unfortunately for me though, I wasn't paying attention though, so that's probably from my reckless taste or something like that, so. But you know, you get the gist. So anyways, let's go ahead and keep on grabbing some more coins and stuff like that for that wager. And hopefully we could able to get it for the doubt. So, and also just trying to jump occasionally for those little ramps and stuff. In fact, at this point in time, we're almost at the halfway point of this Let's Play already, just because of how the fact that, well, I was expecting to able to actually focusing on one class particularly from Mario Kart DS all the way up to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and was Mario... Oh, okay, he's somehow now in last place potentially, which, yeah, is a little bit weird, but anyways. And speaking of Donkey Kong Jr. actually, is the fact that this will be the only Mario Kart game that's able to feature Donkey Kong Jr. as the actual playable character in this game, because until when Mario Kart 64 came around and onwards, it'll later become Donkey Kong. So, I think it's pretty obvious because of the forms of how Donkey Kong becomes a villain back in the forms of the actual 1980s and stuff. But you know, you get the drill for that point, because, you know, if you played Donkey Kong on the arcade machines back in the day, in 1981, you know exactly what I'm talking about here, so here we go, we're turning back onto Mario Circuit 3, and this will be a problem for Donkey Kong Jr., just because, then again, his handling is alright, but nowhere near as, like, flawless as the forms of how it does it as Koopa Troopa. In fact, I'll say this right now, Koopa Troopa is easily the best playable character in this game in my opinion, just because, well, for one thing, I feel like the actual overall control of Koopa Troopa is actually pretty good. And to top it off is the fact that I don't think I come across into a slippery momentum or something like that as Koopa Troopa, potentially. But then again though, well, I think we might as well say this right now. I think we should probably select Koopa yet again until specifically the finale video. Spoiler warning for those of you who want to know what's gonna happen next. So, but you know, you probably get the idea for that total solutions for that specific stuff worth noting for, so. But then again, some of these races are pretty short though, so no matter what, how many times, if I do manage to fail some of the stuff in mind, then I don't have to hurry about that specific stuff though. Although the only time I might as well able to hurry things up is the fact that with the amount of attempts I have to able to go for that specific stuff, so. But then again, it's so easy to able to bump onto walls in this game because, well, that happens the same issue in the forms of, as I mentioned this before, in Mario Kart Super Circuit for the Game Boy Advance. At least you can able to have yourselves some sort of like a learning curve to it. Well, this game does have a learning curve of it too, but it's just a matter of the forms of, oh jeez, why do I just do that? Okay, let's toss the red shell on Luigi, and I don't know if I can use that shortcut, so I might as well... What? Okay, come on. Luigi! Luigi! Oh, screw you, Luigi! Ah, there's no way I can able to make it for this point, so we'll try that again, I suppose. So yeah, I think I'm probably not gonna able to select Donkey Kong Jr. again for the sake of time, because, well, after this is done, well, I will have to move on to the next character, which, talking of which, actually, is the fact that the next video might actually be, oh god, I think we're gonna be playing as Bowser in the next video, because, well, I might as well have a hard time with the forms of the heavyweight characters to be, classified for such, because, then again, it's not my, personal favorite characters to use in Super Mario Kart. In fact, we're actually doing slightly terrible this time around though in lap 1, but hopefully we'll just catch up at one point. I don't really think I don't have to worry about this too much if I go into 4th or 2nd or something like that, if some of the players might actually just get to the finishing line first, so, but God knows, we're able to actually just make it happen, so, yeah, I think Mario Circuit 3 might be pretty bad for Donkey Kong Jr., but then again, this will be the only time we're going to be using him, so, and let me say this right now, I think we should probably go on to the repeated cycle when it comes to playable characters decision. Well, with some exceptions, which we'll get into that in a moment, in the forms of, well, the final unlockable thing, which again, I'm not gonna talk about this too much, and what's going on with my item system. I need a thunder, because that way the lightning bolts can be good for most of the time, but it's just not enough as it goes by, but hopefully by the time until when Mario Kart 64, whenever we do that Let's Play, at least we can able to actually do something with it, but that again though, it's just, well, controls-wise, it just feels a little bit slippery at points, so I think we're getting there. I think we're somewhat getting there compared to the forms of how it does in the second attempt. Peach, get out of my way. We don't need you. And same applies to you, Luigi. So yeah, Bowser's in first this time around though, compared to Toad on the first attempt. So I think we'll be okay as it goes by, so we'll take 4th. And I think we should be got enough of those points as it goes by, so yeah, I had a decent time, but except the forms of that final, the final racetrack, as you can clearly tell on screen. But, and also same applies for, Ghost Valley 2 track as well, so yeah, a little bit alright and stuff, but then again, I'm probably not going to touch upon playing as Donkey Kong Jr. ever again, and that can be also same applies for Bowser whenever we get to, you know, tomorrow's video potentially. So even then, yeah, that pretty much takes care of this video. So yeah, join me tomorrow for more of Let's Play of Super Mario Kart. It's the fact that we are moving on to 100cc's Star Cup, and go ahead and select Bowser, the second of the heavyweight characters, so oh boy, I wonder how this will go. So yeah, see you guys tomorrow for that. Yeah, later fellas. Jeez, I'm not actually looking forward to this though.